gentlemen, welcome back. It's the new year for CJP UFC Bets. Make sure to subscribe, like this channel, share us. Make sure to turn on your notifications right now, especially if you like free bets, free picks, full card breakdowns, and predictions right here on this channel. CJP UFC Bets. We're going to win you some money, I guarantee you. And we will not scam you unlike other channels.
Got that right.
So, make sure to subscribe and make sure to follow us. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Skype, we're on everywhere. Just check us out. CJP UFC Bets. Tonight, we are breaking down UFC Fight Night Vegas 67, UFC Fight Night Imavov versus Gastelum. Unfortunately, there's some fights that have been canceled on this card. The Shavkat Ramonov versus Jeff Neal fight was canceled, unfortunately, man. How do you feel about that?
I was looking forward to that just because of all that shit that Jeff was talking, saying it's going to be like an easy fight for him, that Shavkat's good everywhere but not great everywhere. He was basically just saying it's going to be an easy fight, easy win for him, easy payday. We're not going to get to see that now. It's kind of a little disappointing.
I wonder why he pulled out, because he knows he was going to lose that fight, man. He was going to lose that fight.
Somewhere in his head, he knew.
And if for those of you that watch this show, we do a dog of the card and a lock of the card at the end of the video, and he was going to be my lock of the card, bro. Shavkat Ramonov, even though his number was pretty damn high.
Yeah. Juice up those parlays, as you always say.
You already know. But tonight, like I said, we're going to break down UFC Fight Night 67 from Vegas, Imavov versus Gastelum. That should be an interesting fight. How do you feel about that main event?
I think it's going to be a really good fight, and I think it's going to be a bit more interesting than people would assume.
I think it's going to be a good fight as well. Imavov is on the up, and Gastelum is on the down. And I forgot to mention that UFC is celebrating their 30th anniversary this year, so congrats to them.
It's a long time.
Yeah, man, I've been watching UFC for 10 plus years, so
yep, same. A lot of good fights over the years.
Let's get into it now. Let me just all right, perfect. All right. So we got the UFC Fight Night Imavov versus Gastelum going down on Saturday, January 14th. Early card. Look at that. 4 p.m. Eastern time start time right there, folks.
I love it.
I love those early start times because we have trouble. We're old, so.
I have a lot of trouble staying up. I almost didn't even make it to midnight last night.
Same here. I was having trouble with that. All right. The first fight on the card, scheduled on the prelims, featured in the men's lightweight division. We have Mateusz Rębecki versus Nick Fiore. For Mateusz Rębecki, he's 16-1, 30 years old, 5'7", with a 66-inch reach, And then we have Nick Fiore. He's undefeated at 6-0, 25 years old, 5'11". His reach is unavailable, and he's from New England Cartel Gym, which you're very familiar with, right, Jason?
Oh, yeah. Got a lot of guys over at that gym. I do love that gym. Good coaching over there.
For Nick Fiore, he's making his UFC debut, and he's on a short notice. He's got a very good ground game with very solid submissions. He has pretty decent striking with good BJJ skills. He also has nice takedowns with a good amount of pace and cardio. Not to mention, he does have solid wrestling and a pretty good ground game to go with it. For Rębecki, he has good grappling himself with solid wrestling and pretty decent takedowns. He has decent striking as well with sneaky KO power, throwing every punch with malicious intent to hurt his opponents. He also has solid ground game with good cardio and always looking for the finish. And that's why I'm going with Mateusz Rębecki to win inside the distance in this fight. I have no bets whatsoever. And what's your take on this fight, bro?
Yeah, so the very, very first thing I noticed about Nick is he has 2 out of his 6 wins are against Jay Ellis. And for those of you that don't know who Jay Ellis is, let me pull up his record real quick for you guys. Jay Ellis, as of right now, is 16 and 106. Okay? This guy has 106 losses on his record. That's insane. But he's fought everybody and everyone's beaten him. He has been subbed 69 times and has been knocked out 32 times. And it just so happens that Nick got one of both against him. Yeah, so Nick, he's fought a very, very low level of competition. Even in his last fight, he went up against a guy that's 5-19, as he's 5-0. Like it's such low level. The guy's fought absolutely nobody. Now, Nick, he's a black belt out of Renzo Gracie, Henzo Gracie, New Hampshire. So as you said, he is in our neck of the woods. I actually have a buddy that trains with him and says his BJJ is very good. As for Nick's striking, it's almost non-existent. The guy has no hands. He does not have a good striking game. Moving on to Rębecki, he's got good forward pressure. He's got good leg kicks. He doesn't have the best striking technique. He likes to throw a jab and then follow it up with a big looping left. Now, I know he doesn't have the best striking technique, but he is going to have the striking advantage in this fight. That just shows how bad Nick is on the feet, at least to me. The thing about Rębecki is he likes to duck his head to his left, and he leaves his head wide open for a head kick. Now, I don't think Nick's going to capitalize on that, because I don't even know if he knows how to throw a head kick, to be honest. But besides from that, Rębecki, he's got good entries to his takedowns, and when he does get the fight down, he does have good top control with some decent ground and pound. I won't spend too much time on this fight anymore. I'm going Rębecki. Now, the thing about it, though, Rębecki is going to play right into where Nick wants this fight, which is on the ground, because Nick is a black belt. I just think Rębecki is going to nullify anything that Nick has for him on the ground. He's going to have a ton of top control in this fight, and I do think he gets the finish eventually, second or third round.
So I like that analysis. I was going to say it should be over 2.5, but I'm going to stay safe and just pick Rębecki inside the distance. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on up to the next fight on the prelims. Featured in the women's bantamweight division, we have Priscila Cachoeira versus Sijara Eubanks, another person from our neck of the woods. For Priscila Cachoeira, she's 12-4, 34 years old, 5'7", with a 65-inch reach. Then we have Sijara Eubanks. She's 7-7, 37 years old, 5'4", with a 67-inch reach. I know it says fighting out of Maryland, but she's from Springfield, Massachusetts. All right, for Sijara Eubanks, she's got pretty solid wrestling with good BJJ skills, and she's a BJJ black belt. She has good grappling and decent striking. Not to mention, she is a pretty tough fighter, but she has very bad cardio issues. She gets tired pretty quickly in her fights. For Cachoeira, she has very solid striking with lots of pressure, and she has heavy hands. She has a lot of KO power in both hands as well, with decent takedown defense. And she also has nice footwork and a decent chin as well. But she is a knockout or bust fighter. So if she doesn't get the knockout, she might not win the fight. This should be a close fight. I'm probably not going to bet this fight at all. But I'm going with Priscila Cachoeira by decision or possibly even a knockout.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start off with Priscila here, and as my as my boy over at DFS by the numbers, Brady always says, Priscila catch a beating, because she is willing to brawl. She gets in the pocket and likes to throw down. That being said, she blocks punches with her face. She gets hit a lot. She has no head movement. She does have some solid power in her hands. She throws good volume, good combinations. Her takedown defense needs some serious work. Her get-up game needs some work. And I think that's going to play a big part in this fight because Sarge, now the one thing about her is she's coming off a 13-month layoff for this fight, and she's 37 years old. So I don't think we're going to see any improvements out of her. Sarge is also willing to brawl, but she just doesn't have power in her hands. For the most part, she wants to get this fight to the ground. She'll punch her way inside, get the body lock, and go for any type of takedown she can get. She has good top control. She has decent ground and pound. And one thing to note about this fight, it is at 135, because both of these women have trouble making 125. They have both missed plenty of times in the past.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say my pick for this fight is going to be Eubanks. I think she's going to get this fight to the ground. She's going to hold, catch a beating down, get off some ground and pound. The only thing that worries me is her cardio. So that one thing that is going to be interesting here is the prop for the third round KO for Priscila. That could be very, very interesting in this fight, as I do think it's live. But my pick is going to be Eubanks.
Decision?
I'll go decision.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let's move on up to the next fight, ladies and gentlemen. Scheduled for UFC Fight Night 67 Vegas. Imavov versus Gastelum. We have featured in the men's bantamweight division. We have Mateus Mendonça versus Javid Basharat. For Mateus Mendonça, he's undefeated, 10-0, 23 years old, 5'6", with a 71.5-inch reach. For Javid Basharat, he's also undefeated at 13-0, 27 years old, 5'9", with a 69-inch reach. One of these men must leave their undefeated streak. And here's the breakdown. For Javid Basharat, he's got pretty good grappling with very good wrestling, both offensively and defensively. He's got good takedowns with a great takedown defense and very solid wrestling. He also has solid striking with pretty high volume on the feet and very good cardio. For Mendonça, he's got very solid striking and pretty good BJJ skills. He also has decent grappling with solid cage control. He also mixes his elbows and knees pretty well in his fights, and he also has a high amount of volume on the feet. Not to mention, the guy has a pretty good striking accuracy, and he's making his UFC debut as well here. This should be a very interesting, fun fight. My pick for this fight, I'm going with Javid Basharat by knockout. What are you going for, bro?
Yeah, so in this one, Mateus he's going to be 3 inches shorter, but he will have a 1.5-inch reach advantage. And he's also going to be 4 years younger, as he's only 23 years old. He has nice leg kicks, but his striking is basic. He'll throw some 1-2s. He's just very low volume. He'll go for some takedowns, but he just doesn't have the best wrestling. But he also doesn't mind holding you along the fence for minutes at a time. He seems to have decent takedown defense himself, and he is very hittable and can be rocked. So I think that's pretty important in this fight. Moving on to Javid, he has good forward pressure, he has a good chin, and he has good striking defense sitting at 66%. Also, he has a very good takedown defense sitting at 87%. If he does get taken down, then he has a very good get-up game. He has very nice knees up the middle when his opponents shoot for takedowns. So I think Mateus might be a bit scared to be shooting for takedowns with those knees there, because Javid has hit them a couple times. As we seen in that Trevin Jones fight, he actually hit him with that knee up the middle twice in that first round. It's crazy how he was even standing after that. Javid picks his punches very well. He doesn't throw wildly. He has nice, sharp, straight he has a nice, sharp, straight right hand and a very nice uppercut. He also works the body with kicks and punches, so he doesn't just headhunt. He's a good counter puncher. He has some nice clinch elbows. He'll catch kicks and get his own takedowns from them. And if he gets you down, then he does have good top control with some really good ground and pound. And honestly, for this fight, Basharat by destruction. He can win any way he wants. He can get the sub, he can get the knockout, or if he does want to drag this out, he can win by decision. Javid, any way he wants.
I agree with that, man. And stay tuned for our bets next week, ladies and gentlemen, because as you know, there are no lines available yet, as of yet, on my sports book. I do Bovada, and there's no lines whatsoever on Bovada besides the main event.
Yeah, same thing on DraftKings, FanDuel, Bet Online. I checked all of them before the show, but we just got nothing for you so far.
Nothing, no lines whatsoever. But stay tuned. Next Sunday, we will do a betting show for this card. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe, show support, do what you gotta do for CJP UFC bets. Let's move on up to the next fight on the prelims. Scheduled in the men's middleweight division, we have Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Claudio Ribeiro. For Abdul Razak Alhassan, he's 11-5, 37 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach. For Claudio Ribeiro, he's 10-2, 30 years old, 6'1", with a 77-inch reach. This should be a banger, and I don't expect this fight to go the distance. For Alhassan, he has decent striking with a good amount of KO power in his hands and tends to headhunt looking for knockouts. That's his problem. He likes to headhunt. He also has solid grappling, but doesn't use it very often in his fights, which he should. He also has decent takedowns with an okay takedown defense. For Ribeiro, he has solid striking with a huge amount of KO power in both hands, especially the left hook. He likes to throw big bombs while coming straight forward at his opponents with a good amount of volume. He also has a decent get-up game with a solid chin and decent cardio as well. I'm probably going to bet this fight as soon as the lines come out. I'm going with Claudio Ribeiro by knockout. What you got on this fight, bro?
Yeah, so Claudio, he's going to be 7 years younger, 3 inches taller, and he's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. So the tail of the tape is heavily in favor of Claudio here. He's got good takedown defense, at least on the regional scene he does. He has some pretty good movement on the feet. He doesn't have the best technique, the best striking technique, but he does have some fast and powerful hands with some nice leg kicks. He basically just throws like wild hooks. He leaves his chin in the air to be hit. It almost reminds me of this is going to be almost weird to say for me because he almost reminds me of a worse version of the name just slipped my head, of course. Help me out. Leaves his chin in the air, he fought oh man, Paddy Pimblett. He reminds me of Paddy Pimblett, almost the worst version because he has no striking technique at all. He just throws wild bombs and hopes to get the KO. Moving on to Alhassan. He has very strong leg kicks when he does throw them, and I think he should utilize that in this fight. He is decently low volume, but when he does throw, he hits very hard. He can be taken down, but early on in the fight, he does have a pretty good get-up game when he's still fresh. But this fight, I don't think is going to be touching the ground. I don't think either guy is going to be going for a takedown here. I think they're just going to throw down. Alhassan, he's a decent a counter puncher. And Claudio does throw wild, and he leaves his chin in the air to be hit, like I already said. And Alhassan is a good counter puncher. I think he might find the chin. And the thing about Alhassan is if he gets you hurt or even just backed up against the fence, he's going to swarm you with a 10 to 20 punch combo. But if he doesn't get you out of there, he will slow down because of that. Now, I was going back and forth in this fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. I don't think anyone's going to like blow anyone out of the water here. But honestly, I think I'm gonna take Alhassan, and I think I'm gonna go Alhassan by KO. But I feel like the safer pick here is gonna be under 2.5 or just fight doesn't go.
I agree, man. And the only reason I picked Ribeiro is because he's got a height advantage and a reach advantage in this fight, which I think is gonna come into play here.
Yeah, he definitely does. Tail of the tape is all him. The other thing I'll say is Alhassan has the the strength of competition too, as he fought Buckley, he fought Alessio Di Chirico, Jacob Malkoun, Chaos Williams, Munir Lazez, Nico Price. List goes on. And this is Claudio's debut, correct?
Yeah, he just fought on Contender Series not too long ago.
I mean, shit, before the Contender Series, he's fighting a guy that's 24-20 and then 8-6. Level of competition is heavily in favor of Alhassan. And honestly, just based on that, I gotta go Alhassan, and I think he's gonna open up as the dog. At least I hope so, but we'll see.
All right, let's move on up to the next fight on the card, which should not be on the prelims. I think this fight deserves a spot on the main card.
I completely agree.
And is featured in the men's bantamweight division. We have Umar Nurmagomedov versus Raoni Barcelos. Umar Nurmagomedov, he's undefeated, 15-0, 26 years old, 5'8", with a 69-inch reach. Then we have Raoni Barcelos. He's 17-3, 35 years old, 5'7", with a 67-inch reach. And ladies and gentlemen, this has the potential to be fight of the night.
Oh, yeah.
For Umar Nurmagomedov, he's got very good wrestling with very solid takedowns, just very relentless with his takedowns. He also has decent striking and a very solid striking accuracy as well. He has very strong leg kicks and uses those kicks to stay out of range to set up those takedowns. Not to mention, he has very good submissions and very good cardio. He does not get tired. For Raoni Barcelos, he has very solid striking with very good leg kicks and a good amount of volume on the feet. He has pretty good wrestling himself with solid takedowns and a very good takedown defense. His wrestling is top notch. Also, he has sneaky KO power with good scrambles and a good ground game to go with it. This should be a very fun, close fight. But ultimately, I cannot fade a Nurmagomedov, so I'm going with Umar Nurmagomedov by decision. Who do you have in this fight?
Yeah, we're basically on the same page here. Umar is going to be 9 years younger, 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. He throws all kinds of wild kicks on the feet. He can hit you from all sorts of angles. He throws a couple 1-2s, but we all know what he wants to do. He wants to get you on the ground, and he wants to tap you out. He has good entries to his takedowns, and he'll chain his attempts together if he doesn't get the initial one. He has very nice trip takedowns when he gets to the body lock. He has good top control, and the thing about Umar is he just doesn't offer a lot of ground and pound. He really likes to go for that sub. And Raoni, I think the most important stat in this fight is his takedown defense, as it sits at 93%, which is, that's just crazy. But the thing about it is I don't think he's fought anyone with the wrestling of Umar Nurmagomedov. Barcelos, he has good forward pressure. He has good movement. He has a really nice left hook and a straight right. He has a very nice uppercut. He's very sneaky with that. This is going to be an interesting fight because if Barcelos can keep it on the feet, then I think he has the striking advantage. But I just think Umar is going to get the takedowns. He's going to get the control time. He's going to go for some subs. I don't think he's going to get it. I'm going Umar by decision.
And you know what this fight reminds me of? This fight reminds me of Jose Aldo versus, what's his name? They just fought not too long. Devalashvili?
Yeah, Merab Devalashvili.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but that same exact scenario is going to happen here, I bet you.
Yeah, I agree completely. And as you said before, on this fight, Umar versus Barcelos is on the prelims, but we have Jimmy Flick versus Charles Johnson on the main card. Like, come on, UFC. Get your shit
Well,
together, man.
we'll get there. We'll get there, bro. All right, let's move on up to the next fight on the prelims. Featured in the men's featherweight division, we have Daniel Argueta versus Isaac Dulgarian. Daniel Argueta, he's 8-1, 29 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach. Then we have Isaac Dulgarian. He's undefeated at 5-0, 26 years old, 5'7", and his reach is unavailable. For Daniel Argueta, he's got pretty good um, grappling with decent takedowns. He's got a pretty heavy top control, which is good, and doesn't give you space to get back up if he gets you down. He also has solid striking with good ground control and good ground and pound as well, but he has low output on the feet. For Isaac Dulgarian, he has pretty solid wrestling with decent takedowns. He has very relentless with those takedowns and always looking for single or double leg takedowns at any opportunity that he gets. Very relentless. He also has a pretty good ground game himself with good scrambles and always looking for submissions. I was going back and forth on this fight. This should be a very close fight. Probably not going to bet it. I think probably the over 2.5 is a safe bet. I don't know, man, but I'm going with Daniel Argueta just because he's got more experience by decision. Who you got in this fight?
Yeah, I agree completely. Isaac, honestly, I couldn't find much tape on him, but from what I did see, he's a pretty good wrestler. He just wants to get on top and he wants to pound you out. As we see in every one of his fights, they have all finished in the first round. He has not fought longer than 2 minutes and 49 seconds. He has 2 knockouts with 3 submissions on his record. And for Daniel Argueta, he has pretty good movement on the feet, but his punches, he's just kind of sloppy with his striking. He goes for his own takedowns, and he does have pretty good top control when he does get on top. He has judo in his back pocket, which I do think will play into this fight because he has some pretty nice throws. And as Isaac's coming in, I don't think he's going to be ready for that. He has good. Argueta has good ground and pound as well as we saw in the as we saw in the Damon Jackson fight. He can be taken down and he can get his back taken for rounds. But let's be honest, Isaac is not Damon Jackson, and Isaac has fought a very low level of competition as well. Daniel Argueta, he obviously got his UFC debut out of the way. He has also fought in LFA for a lot of his career, actually. He also fought Ricky Tercios on The Ultimate Fighter. I believe he came in as short notice for that fight, though. To be honest, I know you said might be a close fight, but I think Daniel Argueta is gonna win this decently easy, especially if it gets out of that first round. Now, I kind of think he gets the stoppage, maybe even second round, like late second round KO.
Really?
Yeah, just because
know,
Isaac has never been out of the first round, so he's completely untested. We don't know about his cardio. He's fought an extremely low level of competition, and I don't know, just from the little I saw on him, I'm just not impressed. I'm really not.
We'll see, man. I don't think it's gonna be a knockout. I think it's gonna go over 2.5, honestly. But you might see something that I did in the tape study. Let's move on up to the next fight on the card. Still in the prelims, ladies and gentlemen. For the women's bantamweight division, we have Ketlen Vieira versus Raquel Pennington. For Ketlen Vieira, she's 13-2, 31 years old, 5'8", with a 68-inch reach. For Raquel Pennington, she's 14-8, 34 years old, 5'7", with a 67.5-inch reach. For Ketlen Vieira, she's got pretty good striking with a good amount of KO power. She likes to come forward at her opponents with a good amount of pressure. She also likes to throw big, heavy shots and has solid takedowns with good top control. Not to mention, she has a very good takedown defense and good cardio to go with it. For Raquel Pennington, she's been in the UFC for quite some time now, and she's one of the most experienced women UFC fighters on the roster. Um, with that being said, she has decent striking with decent grappling. She's got good cage control as well with pretty solid cardio. She also has a decent amount of volume on the feet and can definitely grind out her opponents to a hard fought decision. But I don't think that's going to happen here. I think Kaylin Vieira is going to win, and she's going to do it by knockout. How you think this fight is going to go down, bro?
So I'm not gonna lie, I just realized I skipped right over this fight when I was taping. So I don't have. I'm just looking through my notes. I'm like, you got to be kidding me right now. So I'll keep this one super short. As you said, Raquel, she's one of the most experienced UFC women on the roster. She doesn't have the best looking record at 14-8. They have Ketlen and Raquel. They have a similar UFC experience. I would say Raquel has a bit more, but I'll keep this short. I'm gonna go Ketlen by decision. I think she'll grind it out. She'll get her takedowns. I think she has the better striking. Yeah, Ketlen by decision.
There you go, folks. Short and sweet.
Sorry about
unprepared. Unprepared, man.
I know.
You're fired. No, I'm just joking, man. Let's move on up to the next fight on the card, which is featured prelims fight for UFC Fight Night Imavov versus Gastelum, UFC Fight Night Vegas 67. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share this video, turn on your notifications. Don't forget to support us. CJP UFC Bets. The featured prelim is in the men's flyweight division. We have Allan Nascimento versus Carlos Hernandez. Allan Nascimento, he's 19-6, 31 years old, 5'8", with a 69.5-inch reach. Then we have Carlos Hernandez. He's 8-1, 29 years old, 5'8", with a 67-inch reach. Give me 1 second. Okay, for Nascimento, he's got pretty decent striking with decent grappling. He has sneaky KO power on his hands, but he can be low output in his fights. He does have decent sweeps and good scrambles on the ground with okay takedowns, but he has a terrible takedown defense. Also, he has nice scrambles, like I said, and decent cardio to go with it. For Carlos Hernandez, he's got solid grappling with decent striking. He also has sneaky KO power in his hands with a nice jab and a straight that follows right behind it. He also does have a solid amount of volume on the feet with a pretty decent takedown defense to go along with it. I was going back and forth on this fight. Honestly, I don't know who to go for on this fight. I flipped the coin and it landed on Allan Nascimento by decision. Honestly, I don't know who to go for this fight on this fight, man. I did not get a good read. So hopefully you got something for us, man. Who do you got?
Yeah, so Carlos Hernandez, he's pretty good on the feet. He has a nice short left hook. He throws a good amount of volume at 5.37 significant strikes per minute. He'll go for takedowns, but he almost never gets them. His takedown accuracy sits at 11%. That might be the worst in all of UFC. I don't know. I'm not positive on that. His takedown defense is at 70%, and he also has a good get-up game. He's decently hittable as well as his striking defense sits at 45%. It's not absolutely terrible, but 45% is not great. Carlos is willing to brawl, but he just doesn't have power in his hands. For a guy that's willing to brawl, you'd think you just need a little bit of power, but the guy's just got nothing. He does have one KO win in his entire record, and is when he was an amateur back in 2014, and it was that dude's only fight. So he got knocked out by a non-power puncher in Carlos Hernandez, and then said, "Fuck this, it's not for me. I'm just going to get a regular job." Moving on to Nascimento, his takedown accuracy is only at 20%, so that's awful. Still better than Carlos Hernandez, though. Allan Nascimento has probably one of the worst takedown defense in all of UFC, sitting at 16%. The guy just doesn't know how to defend a takedown, but he has very good sub defense. He has good scrambles. He has good sweeps, and he will attack his subs on his own. He is not afraid to work off his back, which it's lost him some fights in the past because he's willing to just lay there and throw up his subs against other black belts. It doesn't work all the time. But like I said, he has good scrambles and good sweeps, which I do think will play into this fight. He also has nice body kicks and leg kicks. He's not super active with ground and pound, but he does have some decent punches. Like I said, he has an active guard. He'll attack with triangles and arm bars. And even if he doesn't get those triangles and arm bars, he will use those to sweep. So he's very good at that. And then this fight, just like you said, I think it's going to be pretty close. But I had to go with Nascimento by either sub or decision.
There you go, my folks. We both agree on this fight. It should be a close fight. No bets whatsoever. I probably will have no bets on that fight when the lines come out.
Honestly, it's going to be a good fight. Sit back and watch and enjoy as a fan.
We finally made it, ladies and gentlemen, to the main card for UFC Fight Night Imavov versus Gastelum. As we mentioned, this fight should be on the prelims, and the Nurmagomedov Barcelos fight should be on the main card, but fortunately it's not.
For whatever reason.
But that's okay. Let's break down this fight. On the main card, in the men's flyweight division, we have Jimmy Flick versus Charles Johnson. Jimmy Flick, he's 16-5, 32 years old, 5'7", with a 70.5-inch reach. Then we have Charles Johnson. He's 12-3, 32 years old, 5'9", with a 70-inch reach. For Charles Johnson, he's got very solid striking with good boxing. He likes to move forward with pressure and has solid leg kicks to go with it. He also has pretty good volume on the feet with sneaky KO power. Not to mention, he has good cardio with a decent takedown defense. For Jimmy Flick, he's got pretty decent grappling with solid takedowns. He has okay striking to set up those takedowns with sneaky submissions. He's got a solid gas tank and can grind out his opponents. Not to mention, he is tough and a durable fighter who won't quit in any of his fights. I'm going with Charles Johnson by decision. Who are you going for, bro?
Yeah, same page. Jimmy Flick, he will be at a 2-inch height and reach disadvantage. He offers nothing on the feet except a decent leg kick. Jimmy, he just doesn't have good wrestling, but he does have very good jiu-jitsu, as we've seen him hit a flying triangle on Cody Durden in his last fight. Charles Johnson, he's got some nice body kicks. He's got some pretty good hands. He's got some good volume. Some of you are probably going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but I actually think Johnson has some decent takedown defense and a good get-up game. Now, I know Makhachev took him down 12 times, but it was 12 out of 26 attempts. And let's be honest, Jimmy Flick does not have the wrestling that Makhachev has. Not even close. Johnson will have a big advantage on the feet, and I doubt he'll go for his own takedowns in this fight. I don't think he wants to mess with Flick on the ground. And I very highly doubt Flick has the wrestling to get and keep Johnson down. So, to be honest, I think this fight's pretty straightforward. Charles Johnson, probably by decision.
I definitely agree, and I might bet him. Hopefully he has a good number.
But I think the KO is live. I'm not saying he's going to knock him out cold. I just think, punches and bunches, I think he might get him out of there.
Possibly. I can see that happening for sure. Let's move on up to the next fight on the card. Featured in the men's featherweight division, we have Dan Ige versus Damon Jackson. Dan Ige, he's 15-6, 31 years old, 5'7", with a 71-inch reach. Then we have Damon Jackson, 22-4, 34 years old, 5'11", with a 71-inch reach. For Dan Ige, he's got really good kickboxing, and he is fast and powerful. He has decent BJJ skills with very underrated wrestling, as he does have pretty solid takedowns. He also has a solid amount of volume on the feet with a decent chin and good cardio. Just a tough and durable fighter to put out. For Damon Jackson, he's got very good grappling with solid wrestling and decent scrambles. He does have good takedowns with okay decent striking to set up those takedowns. He also has a solid ground control, and if the fight gets to the ground, he has good pressure on the ground as well. This should be a very fun, close fight, and some of you guys might be surprised by this pick. I'm going with Dan Ige by decision. Who are you going for, bro?
Yeah, so Dan's going to be 4 inches shorter, 3 years younger, and both fighters have an identical reach. He's good on the feet. He has power in both hands. He'll go for his own takedowns, but he only gets them at a 23% clip. Now, Dan can be taken and held down, but he's not bad on the ground since he is a black belt. He can get his back taken as well, and once that's locked in, it's very hard for him to get out. But the thing is, Dan will have the advantage on the feet in this fight. Moving on to Damon Jackson, he's willing to throw hands, but he doesn't have much power. He has pretty good 1-2s, but in this fight, he will be at a disadvantage on the feet. I think that's pretty clear. He won't be completely outclassed, but with the big power that Ige has, will definitely outmatch Damon's volume. He likes to get the body lock and drag his opponents down to the ground. He's very good at taking the back, locking in that body triangle, and as I said, we saw Dan get trapped in that for a few rounds. He doesn't have the best takedown defense, as it sits at 42%, but Damon is pretty good at scrambling and always has submission upside. Now, in this fight, honestly, I can't... It's hard to pick a side, especially without seeing the odds, because I think this is a dog or pass. I don't care who is the dog. I would just be taking the dog. But for the sake of the show, I'll say Damon Jackson, but no bet at all from me in this fight.
I was thinking that Dan Ige is going to be the dog because he's on a 3-fight losing streak, so...
But the thing, Dan does have the better level of competition by a lot, actually. So,
I agree.
So we'll see. We'll see pretty soon who's going to open up as the dog.
I really hope it's probably going to be a pick'em, most likely.
I can see that. Yeah.
But maybe I'm hoping that Dan Ige is like a plus 110 or something.
You gonna take him if he is?
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna reveal my dog of the card and my lock of the card, not on this video. On our next video, our betting show for UFC Fight Night, Imavov versus Gastelum.
Don't forget to tune in. It's going to be a good one.
Tune in. We're going to reveal our dog of the card. We're going to reveal our lock of the card. And we're going to reveal our bets. All for free. All right here. Just make sure to subscribe. Make sure to turn on your notifications. CJP UFC Bets. And we have made it to the co-main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Featured in the men's middleweight division, we have Punahele Soriano versus Roman Kopylov. Punahele Soriano, he's 9-2, 30 years old, 5'11", with a 72.5-inch reach. Then we have Roman Kopylov. He is also 9-2, 31 years old, 6 foot, with a 75-inch reach. I do not expect this fight to go the distance. For Punahele Soriano, he's got very solid striking with a good amount of KO power. He has decent wrestling with decent takedowns. He has a decent amount of volume on the feet, but he can slow down at times throughout the fight. He also has a decent chin, and he can KO just about anyone in this division. For Roman Kopylov, he's got very solid kickboxing, and he likes to pick his shots to sting his opponents. He throws nice combos with good ones and twos and also good takedown defense. But if he gets taken down, he has a tough time getting back up. He does not have a good get up game. He also has sneaky KO power and he has good enough cardio to last 3 rounds. Like I said, I don't think this fight is going the distance. I'm going with Punahele Soriano by knockout. Who you going for, bro?
Yeah, pretty much just about on the same page here. Let me just first say, I think this fight has the potential to be fight of the night, as I think it's going to be very close and a very good fight. Soriano, he's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage in this fight. He hits like a truck when he connects. He has a very heavy left hand. He has some solid knees in the clinch, and he also does have some pretty decent kicks. Kopylov has strong leg kicks. He has fast, straight punches. He's pretty elusive on the feet, as his striking defense is at 60%. He has a very good takedown defense as well, sitting at 87%. But as you said, if he gets taken down, the guy has nothing off his back. He will be held down for the rest of the round, and he can't get up. He throws no submissions. He's kind of lost. On the feet, though, he throws in some nice combinations, has some good power, fast hands. I think this is going to be pretty close. I don't think either guy is going to slow down. To be honest, I do think Soriano might go for some takedowns. I know it's not necessarily his game, but we have seen it in the past. I'm not saying he'll get them, but if he does, I think he'll have the advantage on the ground. So there is that in his back pocket, even just to get Roman thinking, so he doesn't throw as much volume. Prediction's going to be Punahele Soriano. I think it's going to be a close fight. I probably won't bet it. The only way I'm betting this fight is if Soriano opens up as a decent dog. I will 100% take him, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. And I know you said you don't think this is going to be going to the decision. To be honest, I think both guys are very tough, and I think this has potential to go all 3 rounds. So I think I'm going to go Soriano by decision.
Okay, sounds good. I just think Soriano throws heavy hands, Mo. I know that Kopylov has a solid chin, but Soriano throws hard, bro.
He hits like a truck. So like that's the only thing that like I definitely won't be taking the decision prop. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't know, for some reason I have something in the back of my head telling me this is going to decision. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if either guy gets the KO. I really wouldn't.
Well, there you go.
Oh. One thing to add. Sorry, I forgot to mention this. Let me head over to Kopylov's Tapology, which is right here. And so we see he was tapped out by Carl Roberson. And let me go over to Soriano. He got the Robertson got the rear naked choke, and it just so happens that Soriano has 2 of those on his record as well, so he's not too bad on the ground. So I think sneaky little play might be Soriano by sub.
Not to mention, I just looked here. I don't know if you were paying attention. Soriano's last 3 wins were all by knockout. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about that is Dusko. We all know him. He's chinny, leaves his chin up in the air. Oscar Pajota is pretty chinny himself. He went to decision with Jamie Pickett, and like I don't know, that's a bit weird to me. Also went to decision with Brendan Allen, and honestly, I can see this fight kind of being like the Brendan Allen fight. But even though Allan did outstrike him, and he won a
I'm
pretty
still
close
going.
decision
I'm still
there.
going with the
But
trend, man. I'm still going with the
yeah, you
trend.
going that KO?
Yep.
You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna fuck it. Soriano by sub. I'm gonna go that long ball. I'm throwing it out there. If that hits, every single one of you need to go down. You need to like this video. You need to subscribe, and you need to come back week after week for that play.
And man, if that hits, that should be a plus money right there.
Plus 1,000. I'll take it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the main event of the evening for UFC Fight Night Vegas 67 from the UFC Apex, going down on Saturday, January 14th. Early card. Not sure what time you guys start, but we start at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. for the main card. On the main card, featured in the men's middleweight division, we have Kevin Gastelum versus Nasruddin Imavov. Kevin Gastelum, he's 17-8, 31 years old, 5'9", with a 71.5-inch reach. For Nasruddin Imavov, he's 12-3, 26 years old, 6'3", with a 75-inch reach. For Kevin Gastelum, he's got pretty solid wrestling with decent takedowns. He has a decent amount of KO power, and he has a very good chin on him. He has a decent takedown defense with sneaky submissions. He also has definitely fought the tougher competition and is the more experienced fighter in this fight. He also is very tough and durable, so we'll see how that works out for him in this fight. For Nasruddin Imavov, he's got a very good grappling with very solid striking, and he's got nice counters as well. He has a pretty decent takedown defense and a good amount of volume on the feet with solid pressure. He also likes to come forward at his opponents, and he mixes his strikes up pretty well with nice jabs and solid elbows to go along with it. My pick for this fight, I'm going with Nasruddin Imavov by decision. Who are you going for, bro?
Yeah, Imavov, he's going to have a 6-inch height advantage, 4-inch reach advantage, and he's going to be 4 years younger. Tail of the tape heavily on the side of Imavov. He's called the sniper for a reason, because he has very sharp hands. He has hard, straight 1-2s. He has good takedown defense. The only person able to get Imavov down was Phil Hawes, as he went 4 for 7 on takedowns. Edmund Shabazian was credited with 1 of 5 takedowns, but that's just because Imavov jumped to guillotine, and he got up very fast. So honestly, I'm not even going to count that. Imavov has good cardio, a good chin, and good output. Kelvin Gastelum, this is his first fight in 1 year and 5 months, but he's 31 years old. He's just now entering his prime after all of these years in the UFC. He throws in combinations. He's usually never just one punch at a time. He has a decent amount of power, but there's no way he's getting the KO in this fight. Imavov has a really good chin. He also has some pretty good movement on the feet. He's a bit weird with his striking, so he can get through on some pretty good shots. Kelvin will go for some takedowns, but I think he's going to have a pretty hard time getting Imavov down. And even if he does, they'll probably have a hard time holding him down. No, at first, like pre-tape to this fight, I thought I was going to have Imavov as a pretty good parlay piece. But I don't know. Like I think Imavov is going to win. This is a step up in competition for him, and I do think he'll pass the test. I think Imavov by decision, but I don't think I'm going to get there from a betting perspective. We do have a line on this fight. We have Imavov as a minus 200 favorite and Gastelum as a plus 160. Now, I'm not going to lie. If this fight gets any wider, like if we get Gastelum at plus 200, I might just have to take a shot on him just because, even though I don't think he's going to win. I'm picking Imavov to win. It's just like if the line gets too wide, I might have to take a shot. But most likely, I'm just going to watch this main event as a fan. I'm not going to have any bets. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going all 5 rounds. If I'm betting anything, I'll bet fight goes to decision.
I was going to say that, yeah, over 2.5,
yeah.
over 3.5, over 4.5 sounds good.
Yeah, Gastelum, he has never been knocked out. He's been subbed, twice? He's been subbed twice. He lost a few close split decisions. He lost 3 close split decisions in his career.
That's my only problem with Kelvin Gastelum is he's inconsistent, man.
Yeah, he really is. He's not bad too, so it's like it's a bit deceiving, but he's in his prime. He took a year and 5 months off, so he could have gotten better in that time. I guess we'll find out in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, man. I'm still going with Imavov by decision, though.
Yeah, same. Imavov by decision is the official pick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That was our official breakdown for UFC Fight Night 67 Vegas, Imavov versus Gastelum. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share this video. We will be doing our official bets, dog of the card, lock of the card, next Sunday, January 8th, on this channel, CJP UFC Bets, and hopefully, Jason, you can join me there, man.
I will be there. I will have quite a few bets for this card. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you like this video. Go ahead and leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us your picks. Who's your lock? Who's your dog? And don't forget to subscribe.
Absolutely. And also, one more thing, ladies and gentlemen, before we let you go, we're still running our $250 gift card giveaway. Make sure to check that video out. Don't forget, once we reach 300 subscribers, one lucky winner will win a $250 gift card.
And let me just throw out there, whoever wins will be guaranteed that money. As many of you know the recent events of a different capper, I won't name him. Let me just say you will be getting that money.
Absolutely. Promise, signed, sealed, and delivered. And it's a free contest. No money involved from your pocket. It's all coming out of this channel. So make sure to subscribe, like our videos, and check us out next Sunday for our bets. Take care and have a great night.